I've come to this whole new level of realization about how important it is to have the capacity, the practice within you to be able to let go of thoughts. Because thoughts and our mind and our conscious brain is like a screaming loud voice that sometimes seems impossible to control. Our anxieties, our fears are impossible to let go of. Why? Because we've never practiced with this. We never learn how to disidentify with the mind. You have no idea how to control your thoughts or steer your brain. You're always overwhelmed by anxious thought patterns that you can't get out of. The anxiety and the fears are too overwhelming. You always need distractions from the mind, whether it is your phone, activities, a presence of someone else in your life. You can't be alone with your thoughts. Sitting down and meditating is the scariest thing for you to do because this is the thing you're avoiding, the mind. Why is this mind so powerful? Why is this mind so scary? It's because you identify with the mind. It's because you've never practiced and learned how to not identify with your thoughts. And I used to hear this term a lot, not identify with your thoughts. I always was like, what does this mean? It means that you don't believe your thoughts, that you truly understand and have experienced personally that thoughts are just like chatter, like radio channels. You can switch, you can choose, you can let go. And this is not an easy process. And you know, in the spiritual world, we always say, go meditate, go meditate. Most people are terrified to meditate because then they're alone with the demon that is your mind, your thoughts, your anxieties that seem to haunt you and overwhelm you. But not meditating is like never going to the bathroom and wondering why you're constipated. These thoughts in the mind become so uncontrollable because you never practice and learn how to not identify with these thoughts, how to let them go. And this is something that happens in meditation. But this is scary in the beginning, so let me in this video really help you to understand what this is about and how to start to disidentify with the mind. Letting go so that you don't have to be a slave to your mind anymore and to your anxieties and to your overwhelming fears. Because this is not a way to live. First and foremost, what does it mean to not identify with thoughts? It means that whenever a thought occurs, you understand the relative nature of thoughts, the subjective nature of thoughts. No thought that you think is true. Because the whole thing that makes it true is your body, your emotions, your feelings resonating with this thought. So the truth comes from the believing. So if the truth comes from the believing, the thought itself on its own is not true. When you have an anxious thought about a negative outcome, if we understand the nature of thoughts, that what makes them true is us believing in them, we understand that when this thought comes up in our brain of failure, on itself, it's nothing. It means nothing. In fact, there can be a million thoughts in your brain where none of these things is actually going to happen. And think about your past. Think about moments you've been through where you might have had an anxious thought before or something and things turned out to happen in a completely different way, not like you were thinking. Well, this is proof, right? And this true understanding of how thoughts become true, it is us believing in them, us feeling the emotions. No thought has to be believed because it is you that decides whether you want to make this your truth. Secondly, what is a really important practice in daily life is steering our thoughts. When we start to look at thoughts as radio channels or TV channels, the thought that you're thinking is the channel that you're watching. But if this is a channel, then you actually have the remote control. You can switch. You can go to a completely different thought channel. you can actually present to your brain the opposing thought of whatever you're thinking. If you're thinking about failure, if you're thinking about a negative outcome, what if you start to feed yourself the opposite thought? Now, the brain has this simple mechanism where repetition forms new neural pathways and imprints upon the conscious and subconscious mind. So whenever we say something often enough to ourselves, we will immediately start to believe it. And this is why we use affirmations, right? But in the moments where we feel so stuck in an anxiety, we need to start to practice with presenting our brain the opposing thought. What would be the positive outcome for this? Can I think of any reasons why this positive outcome would happen? Can I find any resonance? Can I find any proof? Can I find any examples in my life that have shown in the past that things could work out well for me? Can I look at other people that maybe have done it to inspire me? What can I do to redirect my mind to the positive? Thirdly, concept of reprogramming the brain, that also takes a lot of consistency and practice. With these negative thought patterns and these ways of thinking and the basic assumptions that we make about our daily life of how things are going to turn out are often very deeply ingrained in us. For example, if we're used to getting really nervous to do presentations, but actually maybe in this stage in your life, you've become way more confident than maybe, let's say, 5 years ago when you were really nervous to do presentations. However, even now, even though you're way more confident, when you do a presentation, still you get incredibly nervous. Because this thought pattern is so deeply ingrained in you, you're just so used to being nervous when you do a presentation, that this whole cycle, this whole channel that you have created of neural pathways just gets activated. And when we understand it in this way, we also know that whenever these anxieties starts to play up, we understand, okay, wait, hold on. This is maybe an old thought pattern that I have. This is not my present moment. Actually, I don't have to make it my present moment. This is just the old wiring of my brain that I'm still now becoming aware of and working on and just trying to reprogram. Having this realization that a lot of these thoughts are just loops that have been running for years and years and years and have nothing to do with the present moment anymore. The whole reason thoughts get formed and stored in your brain is to keep you safe, right? You've been through an experience, it invoked a specific anxiety. Now your brain is like, okay, let's store this experience because we want to be safe and we want to keep this body safe. So whenever we get triggered again, whenever a similar situation gets presented to us, let's refire these same neural pathways and make this person feel anxious again, this body. You see, the way I'm explaining it now, it has nothing to do with the present moment. So when we have this awareness, we can understand that, oh, this fear that I have for XYZ, this is actually not my true reality in the present moment anymore. That was then. So start to disidentify with it. And this is a little bit of a process because we need to reinforce the opposite neural pathways. And as I said in my previous point, present opposing thoughts. What would be the whole thought spiral about the thing working out really well? Visualize this presentation or the thing that you're really nervous for going amazing. And it only takes one or sometimes a few experiences of the opposite in order to believe this into your system. But what you're hopefully already getting from these points that I'm explaining here is the relativeness of these thoughts, the subjectiveness. They're so untrue and old. Some of these stories that we carry in our brain are so old. They have nothing to do with the present moment. This letting go of thoughts has a lot to do with also feeling the feelings that are behind it. So fourthly, I want to say, whenever we feel stuck in an anxiety, let's get out of our mind and back into the body. This whole thought spiral that you have of a specific unprocessed feeling or emotion that wants to be felt, and these thoughts is just bringing out this anxiety that was already within you. So if you get nervous for something, if you get anxious by something, if you get triggered by something, that emotion was already within you. And it actually wants to come out. That's why these triggers in your life even happen. But we don't know about this, and we never take the time to feel whatever is behind our anxiety. We're actually too scared to do this. But next time, whenever you feel a very intense anxiety creeping up on you, I want to invite you to actually sit down, get out of the mind, back into the body, and see where in the body you feel the tension. Is it your stomach? You know, this is the solar plexus or confidence. Is it your heart? Do you feel the pain here? Is it your throat? Do you feel afraid to speak? Do you get a headache? Where is the stagnant energy? And then for at least, let's say 5 minutes, try to breathe energy into this location without being too much in the mind. And even if your mind is still running, this practice will still work, because you have different parts of your brain. One brain can be part of the brain can be completely spiraling, another brain can actually focus on our energetic body. So start to feel where in the body this anxiety is stored, and see through the breath, you can send energy to this. Just for 5 minutes, keep sending the breath and energy towards this. Fill it up with new energy, fill it up with space, fill it up with love. Do this for 5 minutes. Even if you don't understand how it works and you're like, what is she on about? Next time you feel an anxiety, feel where in the body this anxiety is located, and for 5 minutes send the breath to it and see how you feel after. Now, let's get to the most important part, which is this meditation. For the first part of my journey, I was so skeptical of meditation. Like, you sit down, you focus on your breath, but it is impossible to shut this mind off of yours. And you're right, in the beginning, it feels like that. But it actually takes practice. So first of all, why is meditation so important? Because this is the first time in life, probably, where you learn every time a thought occurs to let it go and focus on something else again. You're basically just practicing your focus. You're practicing reshifting your focus away from thoughts to something else. It can be the breath, it can be the body, it can be your chakras, or it can be a mantra and more things. But you decide on a focus point. So you can do the breath, the chakras, so breathing energy into the 7 chakras, maybe one by one, or a mantra. Look up a mantra that works for you. Or just focus on your third eye alone. That could be a focus point. And then every time a thought occurs, you remind yourself, okay, let's go back to what I was focusing on. And it's gonna happen, it's gonna keep happening, it's gonna keep happening. Thoughts are gonna keep spiraling. But it is not the mistake or the fault that a thought occurs. This is gonna happen. You cannot stop your brain. You cannot stop it. But you can practice reshifting attention and coming back to the breath, and coming back to your mantra, and coming back to your focus point of meditation. Coming back, coming back, coming back, coming back. Do this for 20 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. And for 20 minutes, sit in a cross-legged position, spine straight. Choose a meditation focus point. And every time a thought occurs, you become aware that you were thinking again, which is fine. You practice again with reshifting your attention back, reshifting your attention back, reshifting attention back. If you do this consistently, you will get so much better in daily life with handling your anxieties, because you are learning the skill of disidentifying with a thought, of letting it go, of becoming the observer again. Every time you step out of a thought spiral back into the observer, the awareness that you were thinking, you're stepping back into your soul. You're stepping back into your truth. Because if you become aware that you were thinking, you are not the thinker, you are not the thought, you are not identifying with the thought. And this is the whole practice. And this skill, cultivating the skill consistently, every day. It is like going to the gym. If you stop doing it for a while, you'll get worse at it again. If you keep doing this consistently every day, your reality will shift drastically. Because this practice of disidentifying with the thoughts will come back whenever you're stuck in that thought spiral again, whenever you're stuck in that anxiety again. You now have mastered the skill of letting go of thoughts, of reshifting your focus. And this thing that I was talking about earlier, like, yeah, just think about something else, reshift your focus. For a lot of people, this is impossible because they've never practiced with this. They've never practiced with the skill of letting go of thoughts, becoming the awareness, becoming the observer, and bringing back their attention to something else. And this is the purpose of meditation. So you can already see my excitement and enthusiasm, how much I'm trying to stress the importance of this, the importance of practicing disidentification with the thoughts, which you do through meditation. From now on, from today starting, I want you to start to practice with meditation every day. Start with 20 minutes a day. Really set the timer. And you know, your mind is going to love to go to the future and think about what it's going to do after the meditation. What am I going to eat? Oh, I have to do this work task. Oh, but I also have to do this. Bring your focus back to the present moment, to the moment of the meditation focus, whatever you pick, the breath, mantra, etc. And every time you do that, you say this thing to the universe, actually, subconsciously. You say, mind, you're less important than the present moment. Mind, you're less important than God and truth and source and love and my soul. Every time you do this, that this is actually the message that you're giving to the universe. And this is going to stick with you throughout your life. This practice and this skill is going to help you so much. I personally guide people as well on this whole transformation journey. I've crafted and designed a very transformative 5-week identity shifting course for people that really want to shift to a completely different timeline in a period of 5 weeks, where you get my personal guidance. Link is in the description if you want to find out more about that. And leave a comment. Let me know if you have experience with meditation, what your practices and things are, or if you're practicing with what I've just explained, how it is going. Please update me. There's nothing more than that I love than reading a comment of someone that is like, oh, I've actually tried what you said and this. I love it. So thank you so much for watching and giving me the time of your day. I appreciate you. I love you. I would love to see you in my next video. Sending you my love.